It's the moment we all been waiting for. The FIBA 3x3 World Tour Bloomage Bejing Final. The culmination of more than 3 months of 3x3 action, 9 Masters, and 171 games. The best 12 teams and 48 players. And we sit down with the youngest of them all, Nikola Kovacevic, who went from high school to the World Tour reigning champs faster than a time lapse. Dunk superstar Rafal Lipinski, a.k.a. Lepek, breaks down each one of his 5 World Tour dunk titles. And World Tour regular season MVP Dushan Bulut reveals his secret behind his stellar season and his team's active 27-game win streak coming into the final. Plus, stick around to the end of the magazine for our top 5 plays of the tournament. It's quick, it's epic, and now it's Olympic. Welcome to the world of FIBA 3x3 basketball, a game played with non-stop music on a half court with 2 teams of 3 players aiming to hit the 21-point mark in 10 minutes of game time. Previously at the FIBA 3x3 World Tour, Lehman Teslavota won their 3rd Masters of the season in Penang, Malaysia, and extended their win streak to 10 in a row. More than that, they broke Novi Sad Al-Wada's 15-month run as the #1 team in the rankings. And Gargetta and Delhi 3BL got the last 2 tickets to the FIBA 3x3 World Tour Bloomage Bejing Final, where, by the way, all players and officials will wear a black ribbon in tribute to the late Patrick Bowman, who was FIBA Secretary General for 16 years and a founding father of 3x3. So who will succeed Zemun of Serbia and win the 7th edition of the World Tour? Get the popcorn ready, y'all, because we're about to find out. Beijing is their second home. For their return to the playground that saw them win the World Tour last year, Zemun jumped out to a great start. The new kids on the block from Gargetta in Russia were first on the list. Nikola Vukovic turned full Incredible Hulk on the Red Army. The big man who lost 80 pounds in 2 years had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks in a 17-13 opening win. Second on the list was Team Riga Ghetto, whom they beat in the semifinals in Beijing last year. And just when we thought the Latvians were getting their revenge, Lazar Rasic hit an impossible shot right between the eyes of Norris Miezes. Riga took the lead in OT, but Vukovic banked one home, Tissot buzzer beater style, and had victory laps like his name was Lewis Hamilton. Speaking of fast cars, Lehman Teslavota, the #1 team in the world, also had a clean record in Pool A. Stefan Stojic was the only player to get a 555 on day 1 with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 highlights against Saskatoon. Mr. Robot couldn't hit a 2 against Princeton. He was in binary code. He still led his team with 8 points in a 21-17 nail-biter. With these 2 successes, the Serbian Armada stretched its winning streak to 12. Not too shabby, but 12 ain't 29. Because yes, their main rivals, Novi Sad Al-Wada, extended their own win streak to 29 in a row. Just after collecting his regular season MVP award from our Vice President Hamane Nyang, Dushan Bulut reached double digits in an easy win against Upalets Bernard. Mr. Bulletproof then put the nail in the coffin for the 2-time World Tour winners Ljubljana, who didn't make it past the pool stage. The hero for Novi Sad was this year's addition, Tomislav Ivosed, who had 9 points and a day-high 13 rebounds. Amsterdam Enox Deal star Jesper Jobse scored in double digits in back-to-back games and was the top scorer in day 1. The Orange Lion felt right at home in China. You can call him the Mandarin Lion. See what I did there? Never mind. Against Delhi, the Job had 11, and stranger things happened against Piran. The Dutch had 10 points to defeat the #4 seed Piran. DeMeo Vanderhorst gave a little help with the big 2-piece for the win. Amsterdam Enox Deals proved they were the real deals on day 1. With the notable exception of Ljubljana, all the top seeds made it to the quarterfinals. It's the end of the line, meantime, for Saskatoon, Gagarin, and Delhi 3VL. Every year, the World Tour gets younger. The reigning champ Zemun surprised a few people when they announced the signing of 19-year-old Nikola Kovacevic. But the Serbian rising star proved he can contribute immediately anywhere on the court. Not a surprise for someone who's used to playing small ball.
I was playing table tennis first. My whole family was playing basketball. My father, my uncle, everybody. It is in our blood. I began training basketball, and it started from then. I left table tennis and just started to play basketball.
It didn't take long for the teenage sensation to go from playing in local tournaments to repping the country in national team competitions. For his first international experience, he witnessed one of the biggest shots in 3x3 history.
My first experience was last year. I started playing with a couple of friends, junior tournaments in Serbia. We won a couple of them, and I got a call to play for national team at the U18 Euro Cup in Debrecen. We came earlier 2 days, and it was Debrecen Masters. When Lehman won against Novi Sad in semifinals, when Ratko hit that circus shot. We didn't win, we lost in quarterfinals from Belgium, they won, but it was a great experience and I liked it very much.
So hold up a minute. How do you go from playing with the kids to competing for the World Tour reigning champs? Well, it all started with a phone call.
Dugi called me, Marko Dugosija, and he asked me to join them, train with them, and if necessary play when someone is injured like he is now. And I said it's a great honor because they were world champions last year, and I said yes.
What does it take to be a good addition to a successful veteran 3x3 team when you're just a teenager? 3 things: talent, patience, and a sense of humor.
They always pull pranks on me. You know, I'm like the rookie in the NBA here. They always joke around with me and everything, but I accept it.
Here's a look at the quarterfinal bracket, including a clash between Limates Sloboda and Riga Ghetto, the #1 against the #3 seed. The two teams came to Beijing with a split 2-2 head-to-head record on the year, so we knew this one was going to be a thriller, and it did not disappoint. Stefan Kojic started things off with a big 2, but Norris Miezis went fast and furious on a 6-1 run. Lima didn't panic, though, and they came back. The turning point? It came when Kojic let the Wilson ball fly a split second too late. Norris Miezis just could not miss. The Latvian star capped off his 9-point game with a clutch 2 that knocked out of the competition the #1 team in the world.
Now it's red, but you need to still 2 games to play. The job is not done.
The Royal Flush Aaron Royer went all in against Upalets Bernard from Czech Republic. He had the only other 555 of the tournament with 7 rebounds, 5 points, and 5 highlights, including that beautiful bounce pass that Dimes ruined with a lazy layup finish. The Dutch had a 4-point lead with 20 seconds to go, but things go faster than your phone's battery in 3x3. Zakrila hit the acrobatic layup and got 2 free throws, but the Czech star bricked his 2 freebies, and on their first trip to the World Tour Final, Amsterdam get a trip to the Final Four.
Different day, different conditions, but if we stick to our game plan and we stay in our structure, we have a good chance to win, and that's what we did.
The 2-time World Tour winners Novi Sad Al-Wada were next against a team they've been bullying for years in the competition. In 8 games, the Serbs were 7-1 against Piran of Slovenia. The game was not pretty. The scoreboard said 2-2 after more than 3 minutes, and the only shots that were getting in were the ones that didn't even count. But with the score at 8-7, Novi Sad went on a 7-1 run thanks to Tomasz Ivosev, who topped all scorers with 6 points in the game. Gasper Ovnik snapped the Maestro's ankles for the gram, but it was the Serbs who once again stretched their winning streak to an incredible 30 in a row.
Iran is a really good team experience. This kind of games is always tough to play. So I think we had luck a little bit and we have more concentration till the end.
Team Princeton were out here fighting the European domination of 3x3 and had more teardrops than Lil Wayne. Former NBA player Robbie Hummel led all scorers with 7 points and added 7 rebounds and 3 highlights, but it was Zamoon who was up all game. And when Princeton got too close, the Dragon Bogdan Dragovic showed him the fire exit. The U.S. team had a shot to send the game to overtime, but Craig Moore's long two rimmed out. Despite missing Marco Dugosia, the reigning champs were just 2 games away from a repeat.
Congratulations, Team Princeton, on a good match. It's always hard to play against USA players.
The Shootout Contest, the moment we crowned the best sniper in tournament. Despite the cold and the wind, last year's winner, Steve Sir, caught fire in the Moneyball rack and splashed his final 2 shots from the logo. The bar was set at 9 when Delhi 3BL rising star, Keelan Shastri, stepped onto the sport court. The Indian sharpshooter hit his first 7 shots and got the crowd louder than me singing in the shower. That ain't easy, y'all. Shastri was at 11 entering the Moneyball rack and had a shot at beating the all-time record, but he cooled off. Take a bow, though. Keelan Shastri, winner of the Bloomage Bejing Final Shootout Contest. He's competed at the World Tour since season 1 and still hasn't scored a single layup. It's Polish star and 5-time World Tour dunk champ Rafał Lipinski, a.k.a. Lepek. From his first final in Miami at age 21 to his last title last year in Beijing, we go back down memory lane.
In Miami, I was so hyped for this contest. And one of the best dunkers that time, the Worm, ended up in the contest and I was going against him. And I won with him, right? So for me, it was like, whoa, I won against an American. I beat you, so it means I'm the man now.
Lepek's next big leap came in Istanbul in 2013 over the highest mountain on the 3x3 scene.
It was a great contest. I jumped over Birdman. He's the tallest guy I think that ever played 3x3. People loved that. Judges gave me 10s. I was feeling pretty good that day. And that was the year that I actually felt like I'm a professional dunker. Like, I do it for a living, and this is what I love.
The Lepek Airlines flew all the way to Japan in 2014 for a memorable contest and an incredible three-peat.
I think one of my best performances for a 3x3 World Tour event, it was in Tokyo. It was me against Porter Maybury. I did a lot of great dunks, including under both legs, off the side of the backboard with a between the leg dunk. I jumped over a car and stuff, so it was a great experience.
In 2015, new faces appeared in the world of dunking, and the 3-time champ had to send a reminder who's boss.
The other dunker, Jordan Kilgannon, was very hyped from the FIBA 3x3. Everybody's eyes was on him because he was the YouTube sensation. He got like millions of views on YouTube and everything. So I kind of felt a little forgotten that time. So I had to, prove that I'm still here. I'm still the king, right? So I just brought my best dunks again. I showed everybody who's #1.
The Polish posterizer couldn't make it in 2016, and it made him even hungrier to take his belt back a year later.
I have a feeling like a sense of duty that I was supposed to be there because nobody got it yet when I was in the contest. This is my crown. I didn't give it to you, you just borrowed it, all right? So the next time I came back and I took it back. The last year's final, I was not in good shape. It was very, very cold. I remember it was like 4 degrees, but it's up to whoever makes the less mistakes. And it was me that time.
Mr. Clutch Lepek arrived in Beijing with a perfect 5-0 record in World Tour Final Contest. But he was back against Zhang Yushun and Ukrainian power dunker Miller, who had won 2 contests on the World Tour this season and was the only other dude to win a World Tour final back in 2016. The first round was a nail-biter, and the three dunkers were separated by just 2 points. Miller had probably the best dunk of the first round, going between the legs over a dude, and finished first with 50 points. And the reigning champion Peck escaped by just 1 point after local star Zhang Yushun messed up the finish of his scorpion dunk. Who said the revolution wouldn't be televised? The full 360 between the legs got Lee Peck off to a great start, but Miller responded with a jam more complicated than a relationship. Off the bounce, 180 between the legs, and the finish with 2 hands. A perfect 30-piece. The champ attempted his signature 720, but failed to convert twice. Even worse, the Polish star blew his safety backup dunk and earned 3 zeros. You know what that is, a death sentence in a FIBA 3x3 dunk contest. Lee Peck still had one of his best dunks of the event, leaping over 2 people and finishing with more power than Khabib. Miller wasn't going to pass on a shot to win his second World Tour dunk title, though. The Ukrainian played it safe and threw down 2 easier dunks to win the World Tour for the second time in 3 years. So it's Vadim Miller-Potapchenko winning the title and taking home the $2,500 check. While many had their eyes set on a rematch of last year's title game between Zamoun and Novi Sad Al-Wada, the first semifinal between 2 offensive-minded teams, Riga Ghetto and Amsterdam Enox Steels, promised to be entertaining. The Latvians were first to score, with Carlos Lasmanis going Glasmanis and Norris Miezis stroking again from beyond the arc. But Amsterdam Enox Steels answered faster than 911 and started a 5-0 run. Miezis was a man possessed and added 2 more long-range bombs. The 27-year-old had a game-high 9 points, but the Dutch kept coming back. The Mayo Vanderhorst tied the game at 16 apiece with a minute to go. In the money time, the Batman and Robin of 3x3, Lasmanis and Miezis, switched to 6th gear on the Batmobile. After Agnes Chavars went 1 of 2 from the line, Amsterdam had a shot for the overtime, but Aaron Royer's shot fell short. Riga Ghetto stamped the first ticket to the final. Would Novi Sad Al-Wada lose to Zamoun at the World Tour final for the second time in a row? 5 minutes into the game, the scoreboard said heck no. 14-4 after Tomasz Ivosev dominated inside and Dusan Bulut clicked from outside the arc. But that's a Zamoun team, they don't give up, do they? Nikola Vukovic led the charge with an emphatic jam, and the Dragon Bogdan Dragovic, he wanted all the smoke. Our 19-year-old rising star Nikola Kovacevic wasn't intimidated either. Just like that, he pulled up on the #1 player in the world to make it a 2-possession game with 2 minutes to go. Trouble is, Zamoun wouldn't score in that game again. Majsorovic hit a corner 2, and Tomasz Ivosev went bang-bang from the stripe to send Novi Sad Al-Wada to the championship game yet again.
In the morning we went, me and Lasmanis was talking, and I told him, like, let's meet in the final, World Tour final, and discuss.
For Dusan Bulut, the World Tour 2018 started on a cold, dark night on October 29, 2017. That unreal loss scared him so bad, he made sure he would never lose again.
That was maybe the hardest loss that I have in my life. I was super nervous, super pissed on myself. I missed 2 open shots for the win, and also that shot came over my head. I feel like I let down my teammates. It was tough. I was hungrier for competing even more. I was really motivated to give my best every single day. How I practice, what I practice, when I'm gonna rest, it focused me more on being present and enjoying the complete ride of the whole season.
Behind every great man, there's a great woman, and the #1 3x3 player in the world is no exception.
I was searching for some kind of spark to motivate me, inspire me, and that inspiration was in front of me. I look at my long-term girlfriend. She wakes up every morning at 6 o'clock, going to work, working for the 8 hours, going to the practice after that, watch her diet. I saw amazing discipline in what she do, and that inspired me to do exactly the same thing.
Anything can happen in 3x3. You can have a bad day, the other team can get hot, make every shot, and still, Novi Sad Al-Wada won 27 games in a row before Beijing. How was that even possible?
As I look in the mentality of our team, we play the best games in most crucial tournaments in this season. We have a lot of times that we were in a problem and teams were better than us, but we played our best game when we needed it most.
Bulut was voted MVP of the FIBA 3x3 World Tour 2018 regular season before the tournament by the players, the media, and the fans. But for the 33-year-old, the only thing that counts is the recognition from the fans.
Nobody needs to tell me that I'm good. You know, I know what I'm capable of and what I'm doing on the court. But when I have interaction with my fans, I really appreciate it. When I won that Most Spectacular Players, that was the biggest award for myself.
Are you ready?
So Riga Ghetto were the last team in line to end Novi Sad Al-Wada's improbable 31-game winning streak. Of all the professional teams, the Latvians were probably the most qualified to do so. 3 times earlier this year, they beat the Serbs. Dusan Bulut fired the first bullet, but Riga replied immediately. Every time Novi Sad seemed to create some separation, Carlos Lasmanis would bridge the gap. The 24-year-old had a game-high 9 points and 9 rebounds in the final. Dejan Majsorovic cashed in a smart cut to the basket, and the pass-first Marko Savic buried a clutch two-piece that gave Novi Sad their biggest lead of the night. And then the game went totally nuts. In just 25 seconds, the team splashed 3 shots from beyond the arc, and it was a one-possession game again. With 4.5 seconds left and the title on the line, Marko Savic bricked his first free throw and hit the second one, meaning Riga had a chance to send the game to overtime. Agnes Chavars got a very good look, but his shot just rimmed out. Novi Sad Al-Wada can celebrate yet again as Marco Zadero makes the most acrobatic court invasion in the history of the sport, and they become the first team to win the World Tour 3 times, and they do it in an incredible undefeated season.
We fell down last year. It was one of the hardest losses ever in my life. That's what successful people do. When they fail, they get up, and then we whoop ass. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I know it's your favorite part of the show. Put your seatbelts on. It's time for the top 5 plays of the Bloomage Bejing Final. At number 5, the Batman and Robin of 3x3, Carlos Lasmanis and Norris Miezes, never take the front door when they fight organized crime like Zamuz D. Coming up at number 4, it's the next play in overtime in the same game. Big man Nikola Vukovic hits the T-So Baja Beta and runs around the court like the second hand of a watch. The big fella is celebrating, running around the venue. He's acting like this was a championship. At number 3, the #1 player in the world, Dusan Bulut, had the best seats to watch Vupi go back-to-back on the top 5. At number 2, Gaspar Ovnik, a.k.a. The Teacher, proves you reach, I teach. The teacher put the maestro on his back, put him on skates like the Ice Capades. And finally, at number 1, when your team is named Gagarin, like Stanislav Shirov, you better have hops like a cosmonaut. The Bloomage Bejing Final capped off an unbelievable 2018 season, where the World Tour expanded to 10 events and more than $1 million in prize money. Novi Sad Al-Wada's undefeated 32-0 season didn't just make 3x3 history, it made sporting history as a whole. 3x3 never stops, and you can follow the #1 urban team sport on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at FIBA 3x3. But for now, we gotta sign off from Beijing. We'll be back again in 2019 with the best dunkers and the best players in the world on the 3x3 team.